Namaskar, greetings to all of you. This is Shonok. A very warm welcome once again to the International Virtual Tagore Festival presented by Bishwobeena-Harmony with Tagore, Sydney. We had planned to dedicate this particular weekend to the continent of North America. Uh, we were kind of delving into the activities of Tagore enthusiasts and very significant Tagore institutes in different parts of the world and in different continents. So we have seen and heard from our friends in Houston about the activities of the curriculum of Tagore Society of Houston. Today, we travel north and we go to Canada, crossing borders, and we bring to you the Vancouver Tagore Society, which is a comparatively younger organization, younger institution, from a city that is again comparatively less heard about, but nonetheless they have been very active, very prolific in their various forms of activities, which incidentally go much beyond just celebrating Pochishe Boishakh, birth anniversaries of Tagore and such days. They are very much involved, I understand, in the mainstream Canadian society in various kinds of social and cultural events. It's best we heard about those from them rather than me talking about it. But there are a few very interesting and significant issues, significant anecdotes in the background of the Vancouver Tagore Society. And that is one of the most important pillars of this institute, which is Tan Lee. He had actually met Rabindranath in Shantiniketan when he was just a 5-year-old kid. And I understand that Rabindranath had asked him, "Tumi ki Bangla bolte paro?" which translates as, "Can you speak in Bengali?" And the little shy kid had replied, "Ektu ektu," which is a little bit. Tan Lee's father had played a very important and pioneering role in the establishment of China Bhavan, the Chinese Institute, so to speak, in Shantiniketan. And Sri Tan Lee, he actually eventually migrated to Vancouver, and he would be 88 years old. He's no more with us. And incidentally, which is a lesser known fact, Rabindranath had also visited Vancouver, I believe, which is documented in the University of Vancouver. And that's basically it. When we approached the Vancouver Tagore Society for requesting their participation in this Tagore Festival, they in turn came up with a different kind of a proposal, which was they invited us in turn, that is, they invited Bishwobeena in turn, for a kind of a tete-a-tete with them, through which they would convey what their background was, what their history was, and what the various kinds of activities in which they involved themselves. So basically, it's over to them, the wonderful friends in Vancouver Tagore Society, and to the main brain, to the backbone of Bishwobeena-Harmony with Tagore, which is Nilanjana Sinha. So I invite both our friends from Vancouver and Nilanjana Di to the screen now, and I hope it will be a very enriching session for all of you. Thank you.
আমি বহু বাসনায় প্রাণপণে চাই বঞ্চিত করে বাঁচালে মোরে বহু বাসনায় প্রাণপণে চাই বঞ্চিত করে বাঁচালে মোরে।
On behalf of Vancouver Tagore Society, I would like to welcome you all in today's event, which is organized in collaboration with Bishwobeena-Harmony with Tagore, an organization from Sydney, Australia. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that we, the residents of Greater Vancouver, are on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, Squamish, Musqueam, Tsleil-Waututh nations. Since inception in 2011, Vancouver Tagore Society has been promoting the richness of Eastern philosophies and culture with a special emphasis on the works of Rabindranath Tagore to the mainstream Canadian and other ethnocultural communities. Nilanjana Sinha from Sydney contacted us to know more about our organization, our works, and about our workshop series. Today, we will have a conversation with her. Welcome, Nilanjana Di. We are very happy to have you with us today.
Thank you, Obhik. And I thank all the members of the Vancouver Tagore Society for this wonderful opportunity. It's a privilege to be with you today. As you mentioned, Bishwobeena-Harmony with Tagore, it is an organization based in Sydney, at the other side of the hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. We are a relatively young organization compared to you and other Tagore societies all around the world. In 2016, we formally started this organization. How did we start? So there was no formalized Tagore Center in this whole continent. When I say whole continent, Australia, New Zealand region, and to the best of my knowledge, there is none in the whole Southern Hemisphere. So someone had to start something from somewhere. So that's how we started this organization. We consciously did not choose the name Tagore Center. As you already know, our name is Harmony with Tagore. So our primary objective was to stimulate cultural harmony through the literary and musical works of Tagore. And Bishwobeena, the Bengali name, is for us a kind of a Tagorean synonym of the word harmony. So harmony is a big thing for us. So that is how we started. And we've been trying to demonstrate both traditional and contemporary interpretations of Tagore. We are inspired by Tagore, but we are not limited within Tagore. For example, like we do Bashant Utsav, which is a predominantly Tagorean occasion, but with that we incorporate, say, a festival with Thakurbari Ranna, like the culinaries of Thakurbari. And we did that as a fundraiser last year. So we do all these kinds of things, but today is not about talking about us. I would be more interested to know about you today. I believe your next question was that how did I get interested about yourself, the Vancouver?
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
So as I mentioned that our objective was harmony. So one of our other objective was to create a platform for Tagore enthusiasts to come and share their experiences and maybe work in collaboration where possible. So this year we are, as I mentioned, we are celebrating a very humble small milestone of 5 years of our organization. I know that you are also celebrating a milestone of 10 years. And there are lots of other milestones this year, like 168th birth anniversary of Tagore, Satyajit Ray's centenary, who is another Bengali intellectual. And also this year, Bishwabharati is celebrating their centenary. So combining all these, we decided to do a Tagore Festival this year. Of course, because of the situation, it is fully digital. And part of this Tagore Festival, we designed a segment to communicate with other centers around the world. So connecting with other centers around the world. But having said that, I have been following Vancouver Tagore Society's work for quite some time now, because I believe that it is important to look at other people's work and appreciating other people's work. I consider this part of my own growth and my organization's growth. And I think this is very Tagorean as well. If you can remember the song, he said that, "Apon hote bahir hoye baire dara buker mache bishwo loker pabi shara." So that is important for me to look around. We are all connected by the same thread, Tagore. We are all passionate about Rabindranath, and it is important to know about each other's work and appreciating each other's work. So that was my starting point. I contacted Tagore Society, and I thank Shanko for the response and for creating this wonderful opportunity for us today.
Thank you, Nilanjana-di. So do you have any question for us, or?
Of course, I would like to know a lot about you.
That's great.
And if I may ask by beginning, like I can see Anuradha Mashi here is probably the, senior most member present here for the Tagore Society. Mashi, I would be interested to know that how did we all start it? Like, what was your guiding principles behind starting this society, and how have you actually implemented Tagore's work in contemporary world? And I believe you also think about next generations as well. So how was this journey, if you can share it with us today?
Okay, it started in 2011, and we were about 3 families who started it. Now, Rabindranath Tagore was a multifaceted personality who has not only written thousands of songs and poems, but also had the insight to come up with the concept of an all-inclusive educational system that would produce a human being completed and contributing for a better life and future, to live in harmony with nature, displaying empathy for other lives, and responsibility of protecting Mother Earth. Influenced by the Vaishnava philosophy and the bowls of Bengal, he had composed many songs that makes one stop and ponder about consciousness, about life. His artistic works have touched diverse emotions that a human can experience in different phases of his or her life. Well, Vancouver Tagore Society was founded on these footings so that Tagore's consciousness, outlook, and knowledge can be spread among the mainstream Canadian society and our next generation. Storytelling is one of the mediums that worked best for us in this regard. By stitching Tagore songs, poems, and essays, we tell our own stories and express our emotional states. We have found that these stories become the stories of the audience, and people can connect more with Rabindranath's works, philosophy, and knowledge, as well as enjoy the beautiful harmony of his composition and appreciate the gifts of life. Madhubi is a musical production created by Vancouver Tagore Society that depicts the story of love and longing in nature through the protagonist Madhubi, a flowering tree.
Suddenly, Madhubi hears a roar coming from the distance. The grass starts chattering and waving to someone invisible. Leaves on every tree in the forest start clapping for the arrival of someone's very special. Entranced, Madhubi finally feels the boisterous wind gazing her branches. Everyone starts singing in the tune and dancing to the rhythm inspired by the sun-filled breeze.
অম্বর প্রাঙ্গণ মাঝে নিঃস্বর মঞ্জির গুঞ্জে অশ্রুত সেই তালে বাজে করতালি পল্লব পুঞ্জে
Madhabi is about a cycle of longing and love in life, which is also, I would say, a concept of Vaishnavism. In the middle part of the story, we tried to interpret the concept of Rash Lila by the interaction of nature's classical element like spring breeze and some mortal lives.
Unknown to Madhubi, all her friends, Chapa, Korubi, Mullika, Munjuri, were in love with Molloy.
No way. Come on. Even these days?
I'll solve your dilemma. Each of them knows Molloy by a different name. Chapa calls him Shomir. Mullika adores him as Pantho. And Munjuri knows him as Udashi. Little did they know they were all in love with the same spirit.
But how? How is that possible?
Possible. It is possible. They are all flowering trees. They are rooted to one place. Molloy is spring breeze. When he visits them, he is present everywhere. Lovingly, they all believe that Molloy only visits her, while he graciously dances with all. Let's hear Molloy's conversation with them.
আমি পথ ভোলা এক পথিকে এসেছি, আমি পথ ভোলা এক পথিকে এসেছি। সন্ধ্যা বেলার চামেলি গো, সকাল বেলার মল্লিকা, আমায় চেনো কি? আমি পথ ভোলা এক পথিকে এসেছি।
চিনি তোমায়, চিনি নবীন পান্থ, বনে বনে ওড়ে তোমার রঙিন বসন প্রান্ত। ফাগুন প্রাতে উতলা গো, চৈত্র রাতের উদাসী, তোমার পথে আমরা ভেসেছি।
আমি পথ ভোলা এক পথিকে এসেছি।
Thank you, Shanko, for that. I am amazed how beautifully the method of storytelling has used for a Tagorean production. For me, it is extremely Tagorean, but at the same time, it has your own touch and own interpretation. That is wonderful. But now that you have shown me a little bit of this, I would be curious to know at least the full story, or at least what happened at the end. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
মোর বসন্তে লেগেছে তো সুর, বিনু বুনো ছায়া হয়েছে মধুর। থাক না এমনি গন্ধে বিধুর, মিলন কুঞ্জ সাজানো সেই ভালো
ভালো
But why? Why does Malloy have to leave? Why cannot they live happily ever after?
Hey, did you forget? Malloy is wind. He can only exist by flowing, by dancing from one place to another. But Madhubi is a tree. She can only survive by standing her ground. Malloy starts to leave. Madhubi, unable to move, offers Malloy her flower as a symbol of her love. Malloy tries to carry her, but after a while the flower falls on the ground. All the surrounding leaves try rescuing her, but alas, they all fail, and in the process fall. Madhubi gets back to her previous look. No leaves, no flower, and almost no scent. With eyes filled with tears, she looks for Malloy's return, but only hears a melancholy tune coming from far.
এসো 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 আখি কয়েকে দে তৃষিত বক্ষ বলে রাখি বেঁধে
যেতে যেতে ওগো প্রিয় কিছু ফেলে রেখে দিও ধরা দিতে যদি নাই রুচি
ওহে চঞ্চল বেলা না যেতে খেলা কেন তব যায় ঘুচে
কুসুমে কুসুমে চরণ চিহ্ন দিয়ে যা শেষে দাও মুছে
ওহে চঞ্চল বেলা না যেতে খেলা কেন তব যায় ঘুচে
কুসুমে কুসুমে চরণ চিহ্ন দিয়ে যা
Thank you, Shanko, for showing us that video clip of Madhubi. So Madhubi actually was a classic love story that ended in the state of longing. I would probably be interested to know more about your other productions as well. Can you tell us about other productions, maybe of different moods, or what kind of approach do you take for your productions?
So I would like to say one of the ones that I liked most. It was a musical based on Tagore's poem Nirjhare Shapnabhanga.
রাত্রি এসে যেথায় মেশে দিনে পারাবারে তোমায় আমায় দেখা হলো সেই মোহনা
Nature is a small waterfall. She has been confined in a remote cave without seeing the outside world ever. In one fine morning, a ray of sun gets into the cave. At the same time, she hears a bird chirp sweetly outside. That defines the moment when nature comes to know about the existence of life outside the cave for the very first time. As she realizes the beauty and magnificence of life beyond herself, nature rediscovers herself. She is inspired to join in the flow of the universe.
I can talk about the artistic approaches on the music side. So when nature knew, like, or just got the feel that there are lives outside the cave, so she got tremendous inspiration to go out and meet the other lives and meet the outside world. And we needed a song, like to have that kind of inspiration that can transform a body to a new, like a still body to a flowing body. It's a great transformation. So we needed a song, something that inspires significantly, and it inspires you to go out and join the world which is moving. So we choose the song Uriye Dhaja Abhrabhedi Rathe for that part, and we created the mood as a background score so that we can get the sound of a horse carriage, I would say, that is moving, that will attract nature to go out, so that we can show like what is going on in the outside world, as well as inspire significantly someone to change, to have a big transformation.
আপন শানে হেলা ফেলা সারা বেলা
So we had created some moods in between. It was up and down in life. So Nirjhar is kind of a flow of life.
আমি কেবলি স্বপন করেছি বপন বাতাসে আমি তাই আকাশ কুসুম করিল জয়ন হতাশে আমি কেবলি স্বপন করেছি বপন বাতাসে আমি
Thank you. I must thank you for sharing all this with me. If I may, as I mentioned in the very beginning, that I've been following Vancouver Tagore Society work for some time, and I don't know about one of your particular production, which I probably Orno would be able to tell me, is Shama. Shama, yours one was a bit different. It was a Bharatanatyam approach, I believe. Orno, am I right? So I would be curious to know that why did you pick Shama? Because about all your Tagore's operas and dance dramas, Shama is a little bit different. Shama is conceived as kind of a negative character. Like, why did you choose Shama, and what was your approach? Like, how did you incorporate storytelling in that one?
So when my teacher, my guru, and my choreographer Jay Govinda, so he's not a Bengali, but he asked me to work on a production which will be Bharatanatyam, but it should be something that's based on Tagore. And then Shankho and I started discussing, and Shankho said, "Why don't you try Shama?" And I was not very confident about it because Shama, you have also probably seen Shama, Anuradha Mashi, and everybody. It's a huge production. It's done in a very huge way in Bangladesh, in Kolkata, in Shantiniketan. So I was like, it has to be a solo Bharatanatyam production. So how can that happen? And then my choreographer actually told me that, you don't have to do the whole thing. You take the story of the play and then you make them into, separate chapters. And then you create, you create a different kind of storytelling through your form, which is Bharatanatyam. So what we did is we started, instead of starting with the Bajroshen and Kotal's chapter, we started with the introduction to Shama, just like a Bharatanatyam performance would do, like as if Shama is entering the court, because she is the court. And then, there was a chapter on Uttiyo, where Uttiyo is actually confessing his love for Shama. So it was not really a conversation, but it was more like what Uttiyo is feeling. Then at the second half, it was more what Bajrushin is feeling at that time, because I was the one who was playing Bajrushin, I was the one who was playing Uttiyo. So we actually changed the storytelling to fit the Bharatanatyam structure. But I think maybe it will be nice to hear from someone who has seen it, because see, when we created it, we can't really see it from an objective perspective or from an audience's perspective. So it's always nice to hear when we, and also because I specifically created the Shama for a non-Bengali audience. Always thinking that, oh my God, there are so many conversations, so many songs, so many dialogues. How a non-Bengali person will understand it? So that's why, you know, all the
Sharma
narrations
asks
came
him,
in English,
"Why
but the
have you
songs were
changed
all
this
in
innocent
Bengali. We
boy?"
did not translate
The
the songs,
god
but
responds, "There
we
has
gave
been a
an
theft
introduction
from
to
the
the whole
royal
context
treasury,
of what is
and
coming next.
we need a thief."
And then we actually, from the solo dance theater, eventually we made it a group dance theater where I collaborated with 4 other dancers. And that is a version that our board member Rupadi has seen it. So maybe I would let her say how, because I know Rupadi understands Bengali, so she's not really a non-Bengali, but she is also someone who has learned Bharatanatyam. She has performed Bharatanatyam, so she's also a dancer, and she's also someone who is very interested in Tagore. So maybe we can hear from her what she felt.
Yeah, it was actually, I thought it was a very good production. And also, they were, as a dancer, I thought it was very well done. The flow was very good. There was no break in any, part of it. It was like a movie going on from one, scene to the other. And also the people, the dancers that Arno had or chosen them, they were very competent and with good expressions, good movements, and they portrayed the characters very well. And the comedy was done very well as that the comedy. There was a person who was the doorkeeper, and was a wonderful representation. I never expected the person to do it so well. And then, of course, we had uh, all the Bhadrachain chain, and the characters were also well done. And then the setting was also quite good. And the recording, that Shankar's music was like a big asset for the whole thing. Because if the music is bad, then the dancer doesn't get the feeling or the emotions to do the part. So music is the heart of any production. So his music and Arno's composition, and of course Jai Govindaji as a choreographer, really worked very well. And many of the non-Bengalis were a part of it. So I thought that it's a very good bridge to bring Tagore's works and compositions together with and introduce it to the regular audience, the Canadian or the non-Bengali speaking, and bring them to understand, because the concepts are of basic life and understanding and harmony of the the community or the world in general. So I think this was a very good production, and it brought many people together. Everybody was happy after the show.
Yeah, thank you, Rupadi. And yeah, not to mention all the dancers that were involved, where none of them were Bengali. All of they come from different backgrounds: Malayali, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada. So it was like 4 South Indian dancers and then me. And at the end of the production, everybody learned all those Shama songs, because I think the music of Shama is so nice that you can't really make it, even with a bad recording or limited resources, it can't go very wrong. So, and the recording was done in Dhaka with Bengali musicians. Shankho sang, and there were so many good musicians who always, because in Dhaka, we always try to find ways to do, because we have always done these musics, we have learned these dance dramas. So when they found this opportunity to play a music where you can let go, like it is not following the real structure of Shama, but you are just following the music of Shama. Then the musicians also made it very, they also got very involved, the sitaris, the flutists, and everybody. So Anuradha Mashi, would you like to add something?
Well, actually, it was done so long time back, I've forgotten part of how it was. But I remember the first Shama that you did. It was, I mean, the second one, because it involved a lot of other people, it was more like what we knew Shama was, like, the real dance drama that we grew up in, with different characters. And the first one was solo by you, but I loved the way the choreography was done, like, from one to the other. And I, as far as I remember, that song on Primero Joare, Partially Joare, that the way you showed the river flowing with just the lights on the stage and the way you danced through the lights, it just gave a different, it just, it was beautifully done. Like it just touched the soul. And I know it's one of the main like love stories of Bajoshin and Shama, but the way it was depicted is it was, I don't know. I mean, I thought that one person, how can they depict it that way? But I loved the first one also.
For sharing that. I think it is important that we all become involved with the production, and that's how our production actually come up. It has been wonderful to know about some of your production. It was really empowering. But I would be interested to know about something else you do. I know that you have been conducting workshops on Tagore's work for quite some time now. Would someone like to elaborate on that? Like what kind of content, what sort of approach do you take for your workshops?
Sure, I can take that. So we have been conducting workshops for last 4 years. We started in the summer of 2017, and since then we did it 3 times every year, and we have covered about 50 songs. In our workshops, we explore the beauty of Tagore songs. We go into the meaning of them. We see how the tune and the lyric, these two interplay with each other. The things we go beyond the surface level of the song. We look at the stylistic elements of the song. Like, is it a Kirtananga song? Is it like a baul tune? We also go on the raga aspect. We also look at the journey of Tagore as a music composer. So if we see some of his work on the earlier stage of his compositional journey versus later stage of the journey, like if there is a pattern that we can see. And also sometimes looking at the history of the songwriting, say, well, this song was written for inauguration ceremony of Indian National Congress in a time when people were having differences in their opinions within the big party. So Tagore brought a lyric, "Amra milechi aaj mayer dake," and he was trying to unify the people. So learning about Tagore, beyond just the composer, but also the Tagore composing music for the greater life, greater society, those are also part of our workshop content.
Thank you, Sajid, for sharing that. So I understand that there's a quite intense learning happening in your workshop. And I also must acknowledge that inspired by you, actually, we also started doing workshops from last year. The
that's great.
Is, approach of our workshop is completely different, but it was predominantly, I was inspired by your workshops. I would be curious to know that, because you mentioned a lot of things you cover in the workshop, what kind of participants you choose for the workshops? Like, what are the age group? Is it both for children and adult? And how different are the takeaway for the participants of these workshops?
Maybe I can put some light on it, because I'm a regular student of the Tagore workshop. So in this workshop, it's very interesting. We have all kinds of people, all age group. There are some who are in their teens and some who are as old as me, and also different skills and different musical background. Some people have learned music before and some people that had no idea, but everyone gets benefited from this workshop.
I can add one more thing to this. Though I don't go to the workshop that often, but whatever little I've seen, initially I had said that the works of Tagore or his philosophy, or, it's not only the songs and poems, but we wanted the next generation, the newer generation, to understand the depth of what he wrote, because from on top, even when we were growing up, we liked the songs or the poems because we were just looking at it from the musical aspect, or the tunes were common to us. But as we grew up, we started looking more into the depth, and that is something I feel with the newer generation, unless we have a platform for them to understand, they will not understand the depth of what his writings are. And this workshops, because we see a lot of younger generation come in and they ask questions. What's the meaning of this? And, it's not only learning the song, but also discussion about why he used this word or what's the interpretation of the word. And I think that helps to spread what Tagore Society's goal was, focus was to the outside. It's not only the main Canadian society, but also to the next generation of children.
The Tagore Society workshop was really fun and recreational because in this workshop I had a lot of fun learning about different Rabindranath Sangeets, because I'm born in Canada, so I don't know that much about Bangladesh as I should, I feel like. So this workshop teaches me a lot more about the musical history. Before I took this workshop, I didn't really know who Rabindranath Tagore was. I didn't know all of this. but after taking it, I've learned more about Bangladeshi music, and I've learned to enjoy it more, and I listen to a lot of songs that are Bangladeshi. I feel like I learned more Bangladeshi words. I can speak more Bangla now. My vocabulary has increased. And I also learned that there are different kinds of songs. I enjoyed learning different kinds of songs that have different moods. Like sad songs are a bit less intense, things like that. I enjoyed that as well. And everyone here is really nice, so I enjoyed learning here.
ছোটবেলা থেকে রবীন্দ্রসঙ্গীত শুনি, কিন্তু খুবই ইগনোরেন্ট, কোনোদিনও খুব একটা অ্যাট্রাক্টেড ছিলাম না টুয়ার্ডস রবীন্দ্রসঙ্গীত। কিন্তু ওয়ার্কশপ জয়েন করার পর থেকে আমার ইগনোরেন্স লেভেল অনেক কমে গেছে। শঙ্খদা যেভাবে শেখায় তাতে আই হ্যাভ বিকাম মোর অ্যাওয়্যার, অ্যান্ড কনসিকুয়েন্টলি আমার এখন রবীন্দ্রসঙ্গীত আগের থেকে অনেক বেশি ভালো লাগে।
হচ্ছে যে সবার সঙ্গে যে বসে গান গাই, তখন এটা আমাকে রিমাইন্ড করে যখন ছোটবেলায় গান শিখতাম। আপনারা কারা 90s বা আর্লি 2000 ঢাকায় ছিলেন আমি জানি না, তো ওই টাইমটার কথা মনে পড়ে। তো তখন ঢাকা আর বাংলাদেশ খুব অন্যরকম একটা সোসাইটি ছিল, এখন তো অনেক পাল্টাই গেছে। আর ছোটবেলার কথা ভাবতে তো সবারই ভালো লাগে, তো ওই মেমোরি গুলা ফেরত আসে, ওরকম একটা ফিলিং আসে। তো সেটা হচ্ছে প্রধান কারণ ওয়ার্কশপ জয়েন করা, সবার সঙ্গে বসে গান করার জন্য। আর ওই ফিলিংটা আমার নিজের জন্য খুব এনরিচিং আমার কাছে লাগে। বোঝা আর লিরিক বোঝা নিয়ে হচ্ছে যে আগে যখন গান করতাম ওই ছোটবেলা, তখন তো লিরিকটিকে কত কিছু বুঝতাম না, তো একরকম ভাবে করতাম। এখন মনে হয় যে কোন শব্দটা কিরকম ভাবে বললে গানের এসেন্সটা ভালো ফুটবে, কিভাবে বলা উচিত, সেটা মনে হয় আমার আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং একটু বেটার হচ্ছে আগে ওই ব্যাপারটাতে। আর গানের ফিলসফি অত তো বুঝি না, কিন্তু হালকা হালকা যতটুকু বুঝি সেটা বোঝার একটা চেষ্টা। প্লাস আরেকটা জিনিস ইন্টারেস্টিংলি আপনার সঙ্গে এই ডিসকাশনটা করতে করতে যেটা হচ্ছে, এটা আমার থিসিসে অনেক হেল্প করতেছে। কারণ হচ্ছে বাংলাদেশের বা সাউথ এশিয়ার যারা লিটারেরি ফিগার্স, তো তাদের মধ্যে রবীন্দ্রনাথ এবং সেই সময়কার পলিটিক্সে তার ইনভলভমেন্ট, এইসব জিনিসগুলো আমি আরো জানতে পারি। ধরুন আপনি যখন এটার ইম্প্যাক্ট কি, তো ওইভাবে করে আরো কিছু কিছু জানতে পারি। তো সেটা হচ্ছে আরেকটা অ্যাঙ্গেল।
যে মানে আর বিশেষ করে আমার মতো লোকের পক্ষে মানে গানে কিছুই প্রায় পারি না, তা সত্ত্বেও ক্লাসগুলো থেকে এত কিছু পাওয়ার থাকে, কারণ গানের সম্পর্কে বোঝা বা এমনি রবীন্দ্রনাথের গান তৈরি করার পেছনে যে চিন্তা, যে ভাবনা, যে দর্শনটা কাজ করে, সেইগুলো সম্পর্কে বোঝা, যেগুলো ক্লাসটাকে আরো বেশি এক্সাইটিং করে। তো সেইগুলোর জন্য ক্লাসগুলো করতেও খুবই ভালো লাগে, গান গাইতে না পারলেও।
আই গেস একটু টেকনিক্যাল সাইডে যে হচ্ছে একটা রাগ কিরকম করে গানটাকে এফেক্ট করে বা কি মুডটা আনে, বা তালের কি প্লে আছে একটা গানে, যে কিভাবে একটা গানকে চেঞ্জ করা যায়। যেমন আমরা একবার শিখেছিলাম হচ্ছে আমার নিশীথ রাতেরও বাদলও ধারা, ওইটা ওই 2টা তালে ছিল। তো ওইটা মানে অ্যাপ্লিকেশনটা খুব ইন্টারেস্টিং লেগেছে। আর অনেক জিনিসই শেখার থাকে, আর সবারই হচ্ছে একটা আই গেস পার্সোনাল জিনিস থাকে যে আমি এটা থেকে কি শিখবো। যেমন আমি হয়তো বা একটা গানের থেকে শিখছি রাগের উপরে বা তালের উপরে, বা কথা মানে এই গানের মানেটা কি সেটাও কিছু শিখতে পারছি। মানে অনেক ধরনের জিনিস আছে শেখার, অ্যান্ড অফকোর্স একটা কমিউনিটি ক্রিয়েট হয়ে যায় এই ক্লাসের থেকে, যে আমরা সবাইকে চিনি আর সাপোর্ট করি, আর সেটা খুবই ভালো লাগে। সো থ্যাংক ইউ।
It seems that the Tagore song is coming alive in our voice, and it makes a difference. And also it is enhancing our life experience in every way. And what I like most, as Anuradha was saying, the lively discussions in a very relaxed atmosphere about the philosophy and deeper meaning of each song. And also we are finding pleasure for ourselves. And as Sajid said, before the COVID, we used to sing in chorus and solo. So we were also giving back to the community what we were learning. And above all, I find pleasure just to see or meet each other every week during the sessions. That's the greatest takeaway for me.
Thank you, Nilanjanadi, for actually creating this platform for us. When we are asked by someone outside the organization, then we also can look at the work we do objectively. And that was an interesting process for us to look back and what do we want, like what we have done, where we have failed, and the whole process. So it was a really interesting past few days for all of us, just to go through the memory lane. So thank you for giving us that opportunity to mention what is the speciality of Vancouver Tagore Society is it tries to create an intergenerational space. We are not really, because the beginning of the Tagore Society, when Anuradha Mashi was there, the founding members of this organization, there were a nice combination of older generations. Some of them have seen Tagore themselves, and then some of them who grew up with that, memory. And then there were young people like us who were just trying to find a place to share and work with whatever skill and art form we have. So Tagore Society actually, those people, the founders of Tagore Society, actually gave us this opportunity to explore ourselves in this new country. And whatever we are doing is happening only because we are in Canada. Because, if we were in Bangladesh or if we were in India, we would have probably thought of Tagore in a very different way. So now Rabindranath Tagore has become an idea where we all can be together. Different people from different generations, young, old, and I think that's the best part of our society. We don't know what it's going to be in future. We don't know how far we can take it, but we know that we will always try to keep it this way. We would always try to keep every generation, whether it's young or old, involved in whatever we do. So thank you for reminding us that we need to keep those things in mind. And yeah, over to you.
Thank you so much, Arno. I understand that it was a good reminiscing opportunity for you. And for me, it was extremely enriching to know all about your work. When you were talking, I was reminded of that song of Tagore, Bisho Sathe Joge Jethai Biharo, Sheikhane Jog Tomar Sathe Amaro. So I could relate a lot with you all. And I must thank you all for providing me with this opportunity. You are doing a wonderful job. And as I mentioned before as well, we all share the pride. And I hope you continue to do all these good works. Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Nilanjana Di. Finally, I just wanted to say that it feels really nice that our work is being appreciated outside Canada as well. And when Shanko first told us that, okay, someone from Sydney, Australia contacted me and really interested in our work. So we were thinking like, oh, it's great then. It's open an avenue for us to approach that side as well. Yeah, thank you for your time for having this meeting, and we are very grateful to you. And thank you everyone for joining. I think it is very nice conversation we had today. So hopefully we will have like this kind of conversation in future as well. We will look forward to that. And thanks everyone. Have a good day.